What is up, guys? My name is Matt from Magic the Greatening, and today I got a weird budget deck tech for you that was suggested or kind of challenged by one of my viewers who commented. It's going to be mono white Weenies Sorta. What the hell do I mean by sorta? Well, it's not mono white. We're splashing a little bit of blue, and I'll kind of tell you why once we get there. Let's get to why this deck. He tried to get a deck built around Oketra's Monument. He said he didn't do very well with it, so I try to do my own little thing here and created a deck that's pretty good. I am playing a little bit of blue in it because I ran into problems of not having any cards in hand, and that's why we're running blue. Anyway, let's get to the creatures. Let's get to the 1-drops here, and this is kind of the 1-drops you'd expect in a white deck that plays some artifacts. We're going to play 4 copies of Thraben Inspector and 4 copies of Toolcraft Exemplar. These are the most expensive cards in the entire deck, but they're well worth it. One gets you card draw, one can just be a 1-mana 3/2, and sometimes even a 1-mana 3/2 first strike, which is really good. You know, this deck is really fast. We don't play any creatures above 3 mana here. So we wanted to fit the curve out pretty well, so we're going to play 8 1-drops. On to the 2-drops, and we're going to be playing 8 2-drops here. We're going to play 4 Aethergeode Miner and 4 Trusty Companion. Now, Trusty Companion is a 3/2 Vigilance. Obviously can't attack alone, but that won't be too hard, especially with Oketra's Monument out, creating us 1/1s. And, we're playing a whole bunch of 1, 2, and 3-drop creatures. So Trusty Companion will usually be able to attack, and a 3/2 Vigilance for 2 mana is pretty good. Aethergeode Miner is in here strictly for Revolts, and it's just a 2 mana 3/1 that's hard to hit with removal spells, especially once you get some energy created with it. Now, we're not playing anything else in this deck that uses energy, so unfortunately, that's the only thing that's going to be able to create energy for you. But there is another reason I am playing Aethergeode Miner, and that's in these spells. Anyway, so Aethergeode Miner 4 of, and then Trusty Companion 4 of. To the 3-drops, we're going to play 3 Devoted Cropmate and 3 Fairgrounds Warden. Now, for the most part, our creatures are very aggro-based, very attack-oriented, and Fairgrounds Warden doesn't fit in there, but it's removal in a creature, which is very good. And Devoted Cropmate, whenever you exert it, you can return a creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you haven't noticed, that's almost all our creatures, all but 6, So 16 cards in this deck can be, reanimated with Devoted Cropmate. So I wanted to play at least the 3 of here. I wanted to keep it all usually 2 and 1 mana here. So those are why they're in here. And we needed a little bit more removal in this deck, but I also wanted to be creatures, so Fairground Warden fell right into that category. Alright, so here's where things get a little bit more interesting. We're playing 15 non-creature spells here. Obviously, we're going to play a 4 of Oketra's Monument, but we're also going to play a 3 for Call for Unity. This card is really good once you get it out. Not a lot of enchantment hate going around these days, so having 1 or even 2 Call for Unities out can really just devastate the other team. And if you have Aethergeode Miner out, you're going to get Revolt every turn. There's some other things we can get with Revolt here. And so it's not just Aethergeode Miner can do that. Obviously we're going to play some Evolving Wilds. We're playing some other spells that will trigger Revolt. So Call for Unity is an Anthem effect. I was, even in a competitive version of this deck, I wouldn't even run Always Watching because we are creating a lot of tokens with Oketra's Monument here. So and Always Watching does not affect tokens. So I do think Call for Unity is the better call here, especially since we're budget. Anyway, so 3 Call for Unity for Oketra's Monument. Another little thing about Oketra's Monument is that it makes other creatures cheaper, which is why I didn't want to play too many 1-drops. I wanted some 2 and 3-drops here for our creatures to get more value out of Oketra's Monument. So yeah. Alright, you may be wondering, where's the blue spells? You've gone over most of the deck already, and we haven't seen any blue spells. So I'm going to get to that right now. We're going to play 3 Paradoxical Outcomes and 2 Trial of Knowledge, along with 3 Cartouche of Solidarity. I kind of just threw the Cartouche of Solidarity there because that is the last, you know, thing other than lands we're playing in the main board. But anyway, Paradoxical Outcome is a huge card draw for us. It can keep us from getting hit from mass removal, it can draw us a whole bunch of cards, and it is a trigger for Revolt for Call for Unity. Trial of Knowledge can also be used for Call for Unity. We're only going to play 2 for this. Drawing 3 cards, then discarding a card is actually pretty good in this deck, especially if a Devoted Crop made out, because you can discard maybe a Thraben Inspector or a Trusty Companion or any, you know, 2 or 1 drop creature we have, and then you just Devoted Crop mate, exert it, and get that creature back. So Trial of Knowledge is good for that. We're also playing Cartouche of Solidarity, which will get us creatures onto the board. And but the thing is, with Paradoxical Outcome, it doesn't return all your creatures. You don't have to, you can choose. So you keep all your tokens out because those won't draw you cards, and then it'll just end up, you know, destroying them. You return all your regular creatures, you replay them. And if you have an Oketra's Monument out, you can get huge amount of value for putting a whole bunch of tokens out. I didn't want to play more than 3 copies of this, even though it's kind of like a huge play for us. You know, having this in your starting hand isn't necessarily the best thing. It's just kind of good to top deck, and you're like, sweet, I have 5 creatures out, their board's getting big, we have Oketra's Monument, you know, all of our creatures are 1 and 2 drops, so before that Oketra's Monument comes out, we're not going to get those 1/1 soldiers. So Paradoxical Outcome will return them to our hand, and then we can replay them, get a whole bunch of 1/1, you know, little Vigilance guys, and it's just insane value. You know, this is the entire, like, reason that I like this deck so much. So Paradoxical Outcome is a pretty big card for us. Pretty big card. We're going to play 23 lands. I know we're playing some 5 and 4 drops here, you know, stuff like Trial of Knowledge, Call for Unity, Paradoxical Outcome. But only 23 lands. We do get quite a bit of card draw. And once we get 4 or 5 lands out, we don't really need any more. So we're going to play 4 Evolving Wilds. Again, Revolt trigger, fixes our mana. 6 islands and 13 plains. Now, you know, we're only playing 2 cards. 5 cards total in this entire deck run blue in them, and that is, you know, the 3 Paradoxicals and the 2 Trials. But we do just want it. We want the blue source at all times. So, you know, 13 plains, obviously we're running mostly white, so we definitely want that, but 4 Evolving Wilds can help us search for those blues. And, yeah. To the sideboard, most of it, actually all of it, is removal. We're going to play 4 Cast Outs. Pretty simple there. 3 Ceremonious Rejections for things against Ulamog and Aetherworks Marvel decks. 3 Fragmentize, again against Mardu vehicles, Aetherworks Marvel deck. 2 Fumigates. This is just for zombies. Zombies will outdo us here. They will create bigger tokens than us. They will get larger creatures. Fumigate is definitely against zombies. And 3 Negates just as against control, or if you want to be able to protect a Paradoxical Outcome, you can, you know, have a negate. But yeah, so 3 Negates, mostly against control matchups. That's it, guys. That's this whole video. The main board's about $15, sideboard's about $8, and most of that is in the Fumigate and the 4 Cast Outs. But anyway, main board is cheap, it's fun to play with. It's not going to beat things like zombies or the Aetherworks Marvel decks, but it is really fun to play, budget, casual type of deal. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.